I walk, please stand. Well, again, welcome. We're glad you're here. Our first order of spiritual business, of course, is to either turn off cell phones, or if you need them on, to put them on vibrate so they don't ding. And trust me, in the next hour, the best call you'll get would be from an inner place, a higher place. So we are going to begin with an opening prayer. If it feels comfortable to you, close your eyes and take a breath. Theologian Matthew Fox said, "There's so much to learn, and the learning never ends. There's so much to being, and the being is complete right now. Let us always remember and live from the fullness, the wholeness, and the completeness of our true nature, our being. Amen." And now we will say the Lord's Prayer, translated from the Aramaic. Father, Mother, Birther, and Breath of all, create a space inside of us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire that flows through ours as energy fills all form. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment, and untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Do not let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From age to age, through you, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these words be fertile statements through which our future grows. Amen, amen, and amen. Well, again, welcome. My name is Carol O'Dwyer. I'm your platform assistant, and since it takes a village to create a church service, I'm going to introduce our team. Today's children's message, regular message, and meditation will be done by Reverend Margaret. We're happy that she's back. Our music is by Dave Lacombe and friends. That'd be Dan, Tom, Ryan, of course Dave, and our singers. Oh, and Bill, thank you for putting your head around there, Bill. Bill, and then Lori, Marlene, and Patty will be our singers today. Our PowerPoint was created and is operated by Javier. Our sound is done by Melanie with Danielle in training. Thank you, Danielle.
ushers are Sandy and Christy, and thank you for jumping in there, Christy, at the last minute.
Yay, Christy's home!
Our classroom teacher today is Sonia, and Delaney is her assistant. So now I would like the ushers to come forward. We have something called the Duo Fund, Do Unto Others. This is not a regular offering, it's just for loose change to help those in our community who might need a little extra support.
Love this church. People go away and then they come back and come right back to work. Christy.
All right, we do a wonderful song here called What a Wonderful World. Please.
And now if the children will please come forward for the children's message by Reverend Margaret.
Hi, guys. Hey, everybody. Let me have that microphone in case we decide to do an art link later. Now, who would like to go underneath the altar and pull something out for me? Hi, do you wanna? Well, first let's get names. Everybody step up to the microphone. We're practicing to be future speakers. Step up. No, we have to stand up. Okay, your name is?
Alex Bryant.
Alex Bryant.
Jackson Bryant.
Jackson Bryant. Elijah. Michaela Williams. And Delaney's on the floor as? I'm so glad you guys are here. Who wants to have a special job to look underneath the altar? Okay, let's see. Jackson, why don't you come over here and pull out what's underneath the altar. What have we got? A book bag, good. And there's something else under there. Let's see what else is on. Oh, a basket. Now pull out the whole basket, honey. There we go. A big pile of rocks. What are rocks doing in church, do you think? Okay, so here's what we're talking about today. This book bag today is representing our mind. We put a lot of things in our mind, like you go to school, right? You learn a lot of things. And you put those things where? In your book bag. And in your mind, you think about ideas, right? And you learn your ABCs, your colors, you learn to read and write. You put all that in your wonderful mind. You know, there's some other things we put in our mind. Sometimes the things that we put in our minds kind of weigh us down. You ever think about that? Like, did you ever feel really, really sad about something? Yeah, we all do. And when that feeling happens, it feels sometimes like we're really weighed down with it. Did you ever notice that? Yeah. Or we get afraid about something, and we kind of feel like weighed down. Everybody gets afraid. So today we've got these rocks here. So who wants to hold this back? Let's let. Tell me your Alex. Alex Bryant. Reverend Margaret sometimes has trouble learning everybody's names, but you will pray for me, won't you? So right now, that's the weight of the bag, but let's see what happens when we put, let's see, we'll let this rock represent what? What, sweetie? Yes, downstairs there will be a trash receptacle, and you can throw that over there, okay? I'll tell you what, put it in the book bag. We're going to throw the trash in the book bag. There you go. So this rock represents, what do we, so maybe sadness, or to represent sadness. So let's put it in the book bag. You put it in the book bag, Jackson. It's going to make it heavier, do you think? Okay, hold on to the bag really tightly. Hold on right here so you don't drop it on your toe. Don't want people going out here saying the minister drops rocks on children. Now, this rock is going to represent what? A Chinese symbol, yes. But let's make this rock represent something like fear. Okay, we're kind of afraid about something, so we're just going to put that rock in there. Is it getting heavier, Jackson? Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing an experiment, Alex, Brian. Here's another rock. Shall we make it represent happiness? No, happiness does not feel heavy. I've noticed this my entire life. Happiness feels light. So it's only the heavy thoughts that weigh us down. So we're going to put struggling with trying to figure stuff out. The people out there know about this stuff. Okay, we're struggling to try and figure stuff out. Is it getting heavier? And this is, you had an argument with your friend and you're feeling really bad because you're not talking with your friend right now. And this last one, this represents not healthy anger. There is a place for healthy anger. Sometimes we need anger to move us on out of a bad situation, but this represents the anger that is not healthy. We stay mad and we stay angry and we think the whole world's against us and nothing's working out right, and there's that anger. Whoa! Is it getting heavy? Now we're going to zip it all up, and you're going to have to carry it for the rest of the day. No, not true. So you feel how heavy? Everybody feel that. Feel that, Jackson. Feel how heavy it is. That's the heaviness that we carry around with us when we aren't letting ourselves connect with the love that's in our heart. Instead, we're connecting with all the problems and the struggles. Now, let's do something really great. There's something called prayer and meditation, something called connecting with the love in our heart, and then we take all those things out of our mind. So go ahead and take out those heavy, heavy feelings. There's the anger coming out. Put it back in the basket. Not on your brother's head. On the back in the basket. Put it back in the basket. Oh, that's a heavy one. That anger thing, that's really heavy. And it might be something like not forgiving your brother when you have a little argument. Yeah, whoa, you are strong. We'll leave the, those are, is that yours or mine? Oh, okay, you keep that. Okay, so now does the bag feel lighter? Yeah. That's what happens in our minds when we let go of the anger, the sadness. You know, we feel all those feelings. We're going to feel them. we're human, right? We're going to feel those feelings. They're there to tell us something, but we get in trouble when we keep holding on to them for a long, long time, and we keep carrying around these heavy book bags. So it's a good thing to feel the feelings and then let them go. You don't get it? Well, if you keep talking about this more, yeah, I keep saying it again.
I get angry at my brother sometimes.
Yeah. How many of us here, look out here, how many of us here have gotten angry at our brothers and sisters sometimes? Yeah, see, everybody gets angry. The idea is we don't want to stay angry. You know why? Because when we stay angry, it makes us sick. It makes us not enjoy life. It makes us stop having a good time. So that's the lesson for today. And you know what, Jackson? We'll keep talking about this stuff till we get it, okay? Because you're not the only one that does it. Okay, let's bless our kids, and you guys bless all those people out there. Remember, love comes through our hands, our eyes, our words. We love you.
We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we love you just the way you are.
You guys have a great time. Okay, we've got a few announcements, and we're just going to zip through them really quick. Actually, let's do the announcements. They're up there right now. So the Viva La Unity birthday party is June 8th, and the potluck picnic is June 9th. So next weekend, it's the first Sunday of the month, but everybody take a deep breath. We're making a change, and we're not going to do the first of the month potluck on the first Sunday. We're waiting till June 9th, because that's when we have our potluck picnic after church. You can get your birthday reservations downstairs. Who's selling that? Who's making those reservations today downstairs at the table? Danielle is. She's back there. She'll run from being sound system trainee after service. She'll be down there, and you can get your reservation for the party. Okay, it's going to be a great time. Primavera, who I keep calling Primavera. I'll try not to do that the night I introduce them. They will be here next Friday night, the 31st. I understand that they are one of the premier kirtan music groups in the whole country, and they're making a stop as they're coming through here on their massive multi-city concert tour. So next Friday night, the tickets are $15 prepay. You can get your ticket downstairs in the lobby. Charlene is going to be selling those tickets. I just bought mine. That's next Friday night. If you get them online or at the door, they're a little bit more cost. And then we have, how many of you remember Celeste Perez? She used to be a wonderful member here and also a former board member. She will be doing next Sunday after service one of her workshops on living from your life purpose. So that flyer is downstairs for you to learn more about that. And on Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th, our beloved Dale Allen Hoffman. How many of you love him? He's precious, Aramaic scholar and mystic. So he'll be back with us June 9th. So that's 2 weeks from today. And that's it for now.
Okay, and a few brief words about unity. Unity is positive, practical Christianity. Unity teaches the effective daily application of the principles of truth taught and exemplified by Jesus Christ. We promote a way of life that leads to health, prosperity, happiness, and peace of mind. We address physical, mental, and emotional needs through affirmative prayer and spiritual education. And now we will read our church's statement of purpose. I am the consciousness of Unity Christ Church, a unified board and congregation, nurturing spiritual growth, inspiring creativity, sharing time, talents, treasures,
divine oneness.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome visitors, those who are here for the first time or those who haven't been here for a while. So if it's comfortable for you to stand up, give us your name and where you're from, and the ushers will give you a packet of information.
Hi, I'm Dan, and we just moved here last week from Asheville, North Carolina.
Well,
Welcome.
I'm Natalie, and I actually moved to this community in August, but it's very nice to be here.
welcome.
And I'm Cinder. I moved back this week after being gone for 7 years. So
I want to welcome my daughter Katie from Cleveland, Ohio, her fiance Mike, and our wonderful husband Dan.
And in the back handing out packets is Christy, who we all love and who was here for a long time. And now no, she's just visiting, but she started working as soon as she walked in the door.
Immediately pressed her into service. Beware. Okay, and now a reading from our Daily Word, which is one of Unity's oldest publications. And the affirmation is, wholeness is always present. So let's say that together.
Wholeness is always present.
I am a divine expression of God, whole, strong, resilient, and vitally alive. Made in the image and likeness of God, I have the capacity to heal physically, emotionally, and spiritually. When a health challenge arises in me or someone I care about, I visualize wholeness in the midst of the situation and affirm a mighty healing. I know any illness or injury is temporary, while the immanence of God is permanent. In prayer and meditation, I picture God's healing energy in every cell and organ. I affirm wholeness. The life of God flows through me and through those I love. In God, we are whole and healed. And from Matthew 6:22, the eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. And again, let's say our affirmation. Wholeness is always
present.
Okay, now we will have our next song.
All right. And love is my decision. Feel free to join me.
One
out of the silence.
We have 30 minutes, so let's all begin the silence. I'm going to do that one Sunday, so prepare yourself. So let's begin with what I feel is the highest form of prayer, and that is
Deep breath.
deep into a deep breath. And that is a tool that we have that we can use at every moment of every day, no matter what's happening, no matter what's going on. We can be in a board meeting, at the supermarket, in traffic, during bike week. We can be at church. We can be having a conversation with a beloved, a relationship partner, a child, a friend. Something comes up that feels a little testy, a little confusing. First thing that many of us are doing more and more, and far more easily because we're practicing more and more, and that is pause. Aren't there a number of times in our lives when, on reflection, after we've already put our foot in our mouth, we thought, if only I'd paused. If only I'd taken a few more moments before I responded. So what a lot of us are learning in life, and certainly through the Unity teachings and through many other teachings, is that what we really want to do is respond to life rather than what? React. So we know how to react. We have millions of years of human history of reacting now. We're making a shift. So sometimes we're going to forget and we're going to move into some kind of instant, habitual reaction. And then we can pause and decide to stand on that bridge and make the decision for love, or make the decision to do it in a more higher, conscious way next time. So there's always learning, there's always a benefit, even when we react. We want to respond. We want to be in concert with and relationship with in the highest and most wonderful way, because that creates the outcomes of peace, right? So that's basically what unity is about. So we can get to the beach. So, and thank you for being here today. I know it's a holiday weekend and it's bike week, and I know some of us don't go out of the house during bike week. And so thank you for being here. So this is a wonderful statement from our dear poet and teacher, Rumi. It says, "Do not feel lonely. The entire universe is inside you." Why would we feel lonely when the entire universe is inside of us? Now, a lot of us are shifting and learning that because we were taught that everything we needed to know was outside of us. And so now, many of us are deepening more and more into the awareness that everything we need to know is already built into this incredible, magnificent, physical beingness that is not physical at all. It's atoms of energy. And we learn to use the equipment. We learn to use the tool of this body, the feeling nature, the mental, emotional. Come on in. The physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. We learn to use the awareness, right? And that's part of what we do when we go into deep prayer or meditation. We learn to use the awareness of the true I. When we say the word I, often we're talking about what? The body. I feel sick. I feel tired. But if you hang around Susan Bowles, you will quickly learn the body may be sick. The body may be tired. The ankle may be broken. The I-ness of us does not break ankles. The I-ness of us does not get tired. But we use the word I in those ways. So a lot of us are learning that the true I-ness of who we are is the eternal spiritual awareness and consciousness that was never born and never dies. It always has been and it always will be. And sometimes it moves through into a form called a human body. And many of us feel like we have many forms as human body throughout the endless ages. But even if you only think this is the one time, that's enough. That's okay. We are learning that the immensity of who we are goes way beyond the body. Right? Teresa's affirming this. I did that a lot during silence, during meditation. But we'll get to that in a moment. So this is a great quote. If I am spirit, and this God they talk so much about is spirit, then we can somehow communicate, or the whole thing is a fraud. You know, I really like this new Pope. And I'm not Catholic this time around, but I really like this new Pope. He's really up to something. And he had the audacity to say that even atheists are redeemed when they do good works in the world that help to create a world that works for all. That even atheists are redeemed. And some of the Catholic brethren got upset about that. And I love it when somebody tells me they're an atheist. I say, well, what does that mean? They say, well, I don't believe in God. And I say, well, tell me about the God you don't believe in. And it usually goes something like the God that condemns, the God that judges people and puts them in hell, the God that doesn't accept some but accepts others. I say, I don't believe in that God either. And then we start a whole other conversation of what is God? What is God? So, can we communicate with God if we feel, like we learn in Unity and many other paths, that God is the life energy, the creative presence, the ever-loving, creative presence that is around us and within us, that presence is what connects us all. That is what we feel when we feel oneness. We are at one with the energy of the entire universe that is us. That is God that we are talking about here. And we can communicate with that presence because we are that presence. Otherwise, the whole thing's a fraud and we can just, use this building for something else instead of a church and get on to doing life in another way. But we come together in places like this, spiritual circles and churches and temples and synagogues. We come together in mosque and we learn about this presence. We can be in communication with this presence, and that's a quote by Charles Fillmore. And Charles Fillmore decided that it wasn't a fraud, that he could communicate with this presence. He could be in ever ongoing connection with this presence, and the best way that he found out to do it was in the silence. And he called the silence headquarters. When he was struggling with an idea, a question, needing to make a decision, he would tell the people in the office there at Unity, I'm going to headquarters. And he would go up into his office and he would sit in silence for hours. And I'm guessing he had the occasional head bob too. But he was in silence, and then when he emerged from silence, he knew next right perfect step. Now that's beautiful enough. A lot of writing, a lot of teachings came out of that silence, but also the entire Unity movement and the entire work that we call Silent Unity, which has been in constant prayer for over 100 years for the people who call in and write in and now email and text their prayer requests. A lot came out of silence. A whole educational movement called Unity. Again, never intended to be churches, but an educational movement. And so if it's an educational movement, what is that about? It's an educational movement about something that's so important to us, but we've missed it throughout the endless ages. The masses have missed What is it that we're educating ourselves about? So let's see what a few people have to say about that. I have all the truth written in this book. So, Ruby says this: there is a force within that gives you life. Seek that. In your body there lies a priceless jewel. Seek that. Oh, wondering one, if you are in search of the greatest treasure, don't look outside. Look within and seek that. The great educational movement called Unity is simply about seeking the magnificence of the I am within each one of us. And you know, we love books, we love seminars, we love classes and workshops. We love all of that. We love exchanging ideas. There comes a moment when we pay attention to this one little scripture that's in the Bible that says, work out your own salvation. Which means to me, after all the books and all the seminars and all the classes, we still have to go within and know the truth for ourselves. Each one of us. No minister or therapist or holy man or woman can give you that awareness. We each one have to deepen into it ourselves. We can encourage, we can support, we can uplift, we can help one another, but when it comes to that essence of who you are, nobody can tell you and make you experience that unless you give yourself over to it. Everybody take a deep breath. People stop breathing. Okay. So, we've just started a new book in book group. And, oh yes, this is another one. Charles Fillmore, he says, we have within ourselves a greater capacity and infinitely greater magnitude that stretches back to infinity itself. So if I take a few moments each day, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour is what it's gotten to be stretched out for me these days. If I take the time and give myself over to this idea that what I'm seeking is within me, then I am well served if I take time to listen and pay attention to this greater magnitude that stretches back through infinity. All of that is within me, and it's all within you. And so, when we get a new car, we learn how to work it, right? We learn how to drive it. When we get a new Sirius radio unit, we learn how to put it in and work it. When we get a new laptop, a new computer, didn't you have to learn how to work it? I did. When you get a new printer, you have to learn how to work it. When you want to try a new recipe, you have to look at the recipe directions and get all the ingredients and pay attention to what you're doing, right? Well, how many of us have been a little remiss through the years, me included, of not learning to work this magnificent tool of feeling the presence within me and around me? All of you have done it? Okay, that's good. Okay, modern day Christian mystic, Father Thomas Keating. What a beautiful human being. He says, silence is God's first language. Everything else is a poor translation. So we think about all the great world religions. They were inspired by someone who had a direct experience. Someone who had a direct experience, and then they told a few people around them, and they said, here's my experience, and this is what it was like, and here's what I saw, and here's what I intuit, and here's what I see and know and understand. And they said, oh, this is good stuff. Let's do that. And then more and more get involved, and the next thing they know, they're having regular meetings. And the next thing you know, they're putting up a building and they're starting a what? A religion. Because it's really good stuff. It was inspired by direct, divine knowing. And then through the ages, the people involved in that religion, they're not having so much their own direct experience. They're leaning into the experience of the original one who was inspired with the teachings. And then enough time goes by, and some of those teachings really get kind of
Warped.
Thank you. I was going to say whacked out. The teachings get warped. And then, I was raised Southern Baptist. And at one point in the town I came from, Jacksonville, Florida, there was like a Baptist church on every corner of my community. First Baptist church, Second Baptist church, Third Baptist church, Fourth Baptist church. But they all started from the same Baptist church. And then somebody got upset. And then they said, well, we're leaving. We'll just start a new group. That's okay. That's okay. Whatever it takes for humankind to wake up, it's okay. But what if we're designed to receive direct knowing within ourselves? What if that's the way we're designed? How many of you feel that we are? See, it must be true. We know this. We don't need to start another religion. We need to start feeling more of the deeper commitment to listen to what's happening when we give ourselves over to listening and sensing the present. So, we started this new book and book group on Wednesdays, and we just started it. So if you're interested, come on in and join us. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And on a funny note, years ago, Michael and some of his folks used to come to the healing center that I was a part of in North Florida. And he had founded a yoga center in the mid-70s. And when they used to come over, I used to think, those people are really strange. They do yoga, and they're kind of hippie people, and they're eating vegetarian food. Kind of strange and peculiar. Those people, now he's on Oprah. Okay, so the journey of exploration of self. That's what this book is about. An exploration of the divine, holy self. He says, we will not be doing this in a traditional manner. We will neither call upon the experts in psychology, nor upon the philosophers. We will not argue and choose between time-honored religious views or resort to statistically supposed surveys of people's opinions. We will instead turn to a single source that has phenomenal direct knowledge on the subject. We will turn to the one expert who, for every moment of every day of your life, has been collecting the data necessary to finally put this inquiry to rest. And this expert is you. But before you get too excited, or decide that you're not up to the exploration, first be clear that we're not after your views or your opinions.
Oh, darn.
Neither are we interested in what books you've read, classes you've taken, or seminars you've attended. We're only interested in your direct, intuitive experience of what it is like to be you. We see and you see that you cannot fail at this exploration because everything you need is already within you. It's all there. It's all inside of you. And so how do we get to that place? It seems that throughout the ages, people get to that place through prayer, meditation, and silence. Charles Fillmore's formula for living as the divine, magnificent presence: prayer, silence, and good works. and we bring through our actions in the world the right and most perfect action for each moment, then it helps to create a world that works for all. Prayer, silence, good works. So there's a story about a professor who takes a transatlantic cruise back in the day when they get on a ship and travel for months across the Atlantic. He was taking this transatlantic cruise many years ago, and there was an old sailor on the ship. And the professor kind of made friends with this old sailor. And so the professor said, "How long have you been on this ship?" And he said, "You know, I've been sailing since I was a young boy, 14 years old." And he said, "I've been a sailor my whole life." And now he was an old man. And the professor said, "Well, that's really something to be. You must know a lot about sailing." The old sailor said, "Yeah, I know a lot about sailing." So they got to know each other over the weeks that they were on this cruise. And the professor said, "Well, did you ever learn about anything else? Did you ever learn about, let's say, geology?" And the sailor said, "No, I never did learn about geology." Okay, so next time they talked, the professor said, "Well, did you ever learn about psychology?" The sailor said, "No, never learned about psychology." "Well, did you ever learn about philosophy?" "No." "Meteorology?" "No." The professor said, "Well, you've pretty much wasted your life, haven't you? I mean, you just learned this one thing." And the sailor looked at the professor and said, "Well, did you ever learn swimology?" And the professor said, "No, I never did learn swimology." And the old sailor said, "Well, too bad you wasted your life because this ship is sinking." So here we are, having a really great time, reading the books, and coming to the classes. Again, we do this to encourage one another and to support one another in waking up. But if we're missing the study and the direct experience of what's going on in us and what's going on in this divine and holy tool of us, then we're going to miss it. We're going to miss the most magnificent encoding of divinity that is us. And so many of us are giving ourselves over more and more to ceremony, to meditation, to silence, and to paying attention to listening. Whatever ways we do that, it's the most blessed gift to pay attention, to listen to what is already within us. So I took myself to 10 days of silence at the Vipassana meditation retreat in all places, Jessup, Georgia. And I asked the guys, "How in the world did you choose Jessup, Georgia?" They said, "Well, the land was inexpensive, and it was close enough to Savannah and Jacksonville and Atlanta and Charleston for people to find their way." At this 10-day Vipassana retreat, there were people from India and Germany and Sweden and Atlanta and Charleston and South Carolina, all over South Carolina. It was a beautifully organized and beautiful presentation of sensing and experiencing the conscious awareness of who we are. Not our confusion, not our upsetness, not our struggles, but the awareness that preceded this embodiment and will continue when we leave this body, because that is the trueness of who we are. So the silence for me was the easiest part. It was a relief to be silent. It was a gift for me to be silent. The hard part for me was the enormous amount of sitting in meditation. However, my body began to work with me. I do yoga stretches and tweak it and work with it and keep adding more and more pillows, and I got into it. And the power of group meditation is such a gift. And we're doing that here on Wednesday nights, the contemplative service, being with a group in silence and meditation, very powerful. It was very regimented. And sometimes I felt like I was in a monastery or a convent. I've got lots of memories of that, still. And so that felt great. Sometimes I felt like I was in prison. And on day 4 and day 7, I thought, I think I could just leave now. Day 4 was about trying to get comfortable in my body while I was doing this enormous amount of meditating. Day 7, it was about me hitting on a pocket of anger that was about 20 years old, actually much older, but this pocket of anger, well, I can't stay here with this kind of anger. All these people are spiritual and they're meditating and I'm sitting over here seething. And the teacher of this form of meditation is Mr. Goenka from Burma. And he has a very deep, deep accent. And every meditation time that we would come together and we would recommence our meditating, first thing we would hear would be, start again. And so on day 7, I'm walking the trails. I don't know why I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. Everything was going great. Day 6 was great. The instructor checked in with me and said, I love this. It's fabulous. And day 7, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. I could leave now. I could go up to Taco Bell. I could go back home and do some art project. And so I'm walking around the trails. We have 45 acres, and I'm seething. I've got this pocket of anger in me, and suddenly I hear, start again. And I started laughing all by myself on the trail. That's what we do, isn't it? We're living our lives. Sometimes we feel like everything is fabulous, everything's working, oh, it's so great. And then something happens. Something happens, and then Spirit will tell us in some way or another, start again. Take a deep breath. Start again, remembering who you are, remembering that you are the beloved, you're precious and adorable, and you are loved beyond what you can imagine, and you are surrounded by an embrace and presence of love that's so huge. And if we give ourselves over to feeling it enough, then what happens is we become that presence. We become that presence. That's who we're designed to be. And it doesn't matter if we're Buddhist or Christian or Hindu, it doesn't matter. The same presence of love is moving through every one of those groups. I was taught that they were all wrong. It was those peculiar people. Those people over there, they're not like me and my group. My group has the truth. We need to save them. Come over here and be saved. We finally get to a place where we realize that we're all saved. We're all okay. But we're invited to know our okayness. We're invited to know our brilliance and our magnificence. And we can do that in many ways. Javi's doing it, teaching yoga now, doing his yoga practice. Many of us have our meditation practice. We come to book groups and classes. We save animals for animal rescue. We do lawn dances and sun moon dances. We make beautiful food. We do oneness blessing. We do the sound healing. We are the presence, bringing that presence into the world in so many wonderful ways. But we forget, now and then, who we are. So, Spirit says, start again. The first evening of the meditation retreat, I was feeling so proud of myself for being there, Finally, I was thinking about it for a few years, so I finally get there, and I'm all settled in, and we're meditating. Oh, this is great. First night, And I hear the meditation teacher, Mr. Goenka, and he says, breathe in, breathe out. Follow your own desperation. What? Follow your own desperation. Boy, they're just jumping right in. Wow, this is really going to be a heavy meditation retreat. I just hide back here, they won't see that I'm not doing it correctly. But for the first evening and into the whole next day, I'm reviewing the moments of my life that I felt desperate. You cannot feel desperation and breathe at the same time. So every time he said, follow your in-breath and your out-breath, I feel desperate. And I was reviewing those moments. Think about the moments that you have felt desperate. Desperate over what? Just, shall we run down the list? You know, this person doesn't love me. This person doesn't love me enough. This person has left me. I'm going to leave this person.
I have a flat tire.
I have a flat tire. My car's not working right. I'm getting car crashes and body ailments and uh-oh, I don't have enough money in my bank account. Uh-oh, these people don't like me. They're kicking me out of this church. Whoop. Now I'm going to go over to this group. Whoop. That doesn't work for me. Desperate, desperate, desperate. The desperation. So the second night, I'm in there, I'm getting the accent a little bit more, and I hear, follow your respiration. Okay, then. I've just got this whole 24 hours of review of all okay, second day, I'll get this right. Okay. Major life review. When it gets time for me to leave my body, I can skip that part because I've already done major life review. And here's the exciting thing about any spiritual process we do. We are designed to let our consciousness, the awareness of who we are, move through the feelings and the emotions of being human. But what we have done, we have stopped off at different feelings and emotions. We build houses and little communities. We have villages, and we can stay there 30, 40 years around a feeling of desperation, right? But really, we're designed to move our consciousness and awareness through feelings of fear, even grief, sadness, frustration. There's nothing wrong with any of those feelings. Nobody's saying, don't ever have a feeling of sadness or anger. Are you kidding? This is this dimension. The dimension, our book bags get full of rocks. But the idea is the consciousness of who we are moves through those feelings. So, that's a temporary thing. I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but this is impermanent. Have y'all noticed that? It's like Mary Marcy tells that wonderful story where the guy walks into her office at church and he says, I just found out I'm going to die. And she says, you got to be this age and you never knew this before. You know, this is impermanent. And also our feelings of anger, defeat, desperation, fear, they're what? Impermanent. Oh my goodness. What is permanent? What I can tell of what is eternal is the magnificent consciousness of this beingness that we are. Whether you call it love, God, presence, awareness, what else, other words. That's the consciousness that we move through the feelings of desperation, fear, anxiety. It took me into the third day to get comfortable with my body. They didn't think they had room up against the wall, so they brought me the back chair rest, you know, and I kept grabbing pillows. And so into the third day, I'm down in child's pose hobby. You would have been proud of me. Trying to get the kinks out of my back. And so the instructor sent a message over for me. Tell her to go to the wall. Tell her to go to the wall. I went to the wall. Everything got better because I had support. So I even got a teaching out of that. Why do we come to groups like this? To get support. Why do we make the phone calls for prayer to Silent Unity or to Susan and the prayer team? Why do we make it for support? something's got our back. We have a prayer team, we have community, we have our friends and family, we have the ones to whom we can go and feel that they've got our back, because we're going to forget sometimes, and we're going to need each other to say, start again. Start again. Beautiful food at this silent retreat. You would have loved it, Kathy. Vegan, vegetarian, healthy, wonderful, and you get fed 6:30 to 7:15, that's first meal, then 11 to 11:45, that's second meal, and the third meal of the day is fruit only. And I'm going, oh dear, oh dear. And there's a sign that says, please do not take food back to your room. So interestingly enough, when you're doing that kind of depth work, you know this, many of you, the appetite does something interesting. And into the third day, I'm not even waking up hungry. And I just go because the food's so good, but I'm not feeling that hungry. Something else takes over. And that's the same, when we give ourselves over to spiritual practice, whatever that spiritual practice is, we begin to see that there's a life energy that moves through that may or may not have anything to do with food. Good, healthy, nutritious food is wonderful. But where's the real life energy? It's the spiritual life energy that's within everything. And speaking of food, I'll just segue into this. Some of us marched in the march yesterday about bringing sanity back into our industrialized food situation in this world, and groups like Monsanto who are doing something to our food in the world that is not the highest conscious way to be producing our food. And they are actually the designers of Agent Orange, which people like John and David and other Vietnam vets know about Agent Orange. Some of you may have family members who knew about Agent Orange and have lived with it and died with it. When Lindsley and John go back to Vietnam, they do free clinics for the families who've been affected by Agent Orange. That's who Monsanto is. So, it's just one of those things that we're learning about and getting more conscious about. But these are heirloom seeds. Seed Savers sent these as a donation. We handed them out at Earth Day. You are welcome to take packets of heirloom seeds. They'll be right over here on this table. So you can have seeds growing in your garden producing food that have not been genetically modified. And you will have seeds next season because they continue to produce. You don't have to go back to the seed store and buy more seed. They will produce for you. Some of these seeds have been handed down generation after generation after generation through the years. That's the same thing with spiritual presence. What we're putting into the world, you and I, sometimes has been contaminated. I'm in this too, all of us. Sometimes what we put out into the world in our thoughts and our energy is contaminated, right? With fear and confusion. So what we do when we have a spiritual practice, we are seeking being the clearest presence so that what we express out into the world is the clearest presence. And we're all learning. There's no condemnation or judgment here. If I do something wacky, I know you're still going to love me. Well, after you get mad at me, but then you love me. And we all do that for each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a deep breath. We're almost done, and we'll get out into our Memorial Day celebrations. And, I know Memorial Day is a time to honor those who have served, and especially those who gave their life in war. And these days, I just feel like all of us are veterans. I feel like all of us are veterans of living in the human family and fighting so many battles, whether we actually went to the war, like John and David, and who else here has served in the armed forces? Bill. Many of us have served in the armed forces. We've been to war, but we're all veterans of living at this time in the human family where we have felt like we were fighting battles. We have felt like we were in war zones, many of us, in one reason, one way or another. We're veterans of wanting to wake up in a world that is often working against us to wake up. So I say, let this be a memorial day for each one of us. That in the midst of warring consciousness of humankind, we are making a choice to wake up. Making a choice to express that wholeness that the daily word talked about today. There is always wholeness present. Let's seek that. So we'll end today with Rumi. Actually, we will go into meditation on this. So right after this, we're going to go into meditation. So that's y'all's cue. Okay. You wander from room to room, hunting for the diamond necklace that is already around your neck. You suppose you are the trouble, but you are the cure. You suppose that you are the lock on the door, but you are the key that opens it. It's too bad that you want to be someone else. You don't see your own face, your own beauty yet. No face is more beautiful than yours. You wander from room to room, hunting for the diamond necklace that is already around your neck. So we're going to go into meditation with this song, and this is a song of absolute awareness of who we are.
You are blessed peace, blessed
breath. We allow ourselves to feel the message of the song. We are deepest love. We are deepest joy, and we are deepest peace. Sometimes we fill our book bags with feelings of anger or fear or confusion or uncertainty. And so we start again. We start again with a deep breath, and we allow ourselves to feel the eternal presence, the ongoing divine and holy presence, which is the truth and the I-ness of who we are. And that presence of peace and joy moves through those impermanent feelings that feel so hard and painful. And yet those feelings are not the eternal part of who we are. They are the passing feelings. There is a place and a force within that gives us life. Seek that. In your body there lies a priceless jewel. Seek that. Oh, wondering one, if you are in search of the greatest treasure, don't look outside. Look within and seek that. Seek the eternal nature, the I am of you. In this heart of awareness, we now bring to consciousness those that we are holding in prayer. And from our place of wholeness, we see their wholeness. Our place of wholeness, we see the wholeness of all those that we're holding in prayer. And if you would like to speak your name out loud, this is the time to do that. From our wholeness, we see the wholeness all those who are holding in prayer. Those with whom we have personal relationship and connection, and those in our global family who we may never know their names or their situations. We hold all of humankind in this awareness of wholeness. We hold all world leaders in this awareness of wholeness. Community leaders, our government, state and national. All world leaders, we see their wholeness and that they have the capacity. They have the capacity to have the well-being of all life in mind when they make their decisions. We see all corporate leaders, business leaders, farmers, school teachers. We see all humanity in wholeness. And from this place of wholeness, we give thanks that each one of us is deepening into this commitment, continually saying yes to expressing the magnificence of light that we are. And when we forget, we give permission to those beloveds in our lives to say, start again, start again, start again. And so it is, and so let it be. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Margaret, for helping us remember in a world that sometimes just gets so distracting. And I'm so grateful for this place where we can come together and remember the truth. So if the ushers would please come forward. Time for our sacred sharing. And we have a prayer that we say with hand gestures. So if you will follow along. I am light,
flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace.
Let's do a song for you called Share the Dream.
Okay, we're going to do a few more quick announcements and then go right into our peace song. And so the first announcement is, okay, we're going to have our midweek contemplative service on Wednesday night, 5:30 to 6:30, and then right after that, we go into the Peace Chapel for the Oneness Blessing. And on the first Wednesday, we have our healing service. So big night on Wednesday night. And then right after service, the Oneness Blessing will be happening in here. And then this Friday night, remember the Sacred Chant Kirtan concert with Primahara. And you can get your ticket downstairs. Charlene will have those for sale down at the table.
It's $15 online also.
Okay, so online and the table downstairs is $15. If you pay at the door, it will be $20. Next Sunday, we start the series for June from the Untethered Soul, and we'll be speaking about secrets of the spiritual heart. And men's group is having a quick meeting right after service in the fellowship hall. Has something to do with the birthday celebration. I think that's it, please God. Yes, it is. Okay, yes.
I'd like to introduce my friends Melanie and Mark. They arrived a little late.
Welcome. We do now our prayer for protection for each one of us and also all those that we're holding in our hearts. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God